All right, I'm pretty excited because I have the beautiful Kelli Haywood with me.
Haywood, yep.
Haywood, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for asking me.
I know, I was like, I have always known who you are and always admired you from afar, but I feel like just recently started like creeping into your life.
Creeping in, it's good. It's good. I feel that way about I feel like a lot of people. I feel like I've known them, we've known each other, but then I do feel like there's something about this camaraderie of people who are going through a similar thing where you end up together, and obviously both of our husbands are in the music industry, so that's something that brings people together for sure. You need a community for that.
You really do, don't you?
Yes, for sure.
Have you leaned on that during this journey being married? Because your husband is Dave from Lady A. Mm-hmm. I've actually known Dave since before, right when Lady A got put together.
Oh, no way.
Because I interned for Victoria Shaw,
who was
Hillary Scott's publisher and helped produce the first album. Yeah. And so I kind of feel like I was one of those really lucky people that got an inside edition to Lady A in its entirety. Yeah. And you kind of are too, because you started off with Dave working at his label and friends with him.
I actually didn't work at his label. I have a very specific memory. Actually, Victoria brought them in. I was working at Warner at the time.
And branding?
And I was in marketing, yep. And they came in, they were shopping record deals at the time. And I do remember so vividly that we put the full court press onto them.
You're like, we need these.
Yeah, Warner wanted them very badly.
What was it that made them stand out so much?
I think at the time there was such a need for fresh, new. It kind of had gotten to that everybody recognized names on the radio, but the music started to feel a little bit like it was not growing, maybe. Mm-hmm. And their sound was so unique and so different. And
they were kind of the first to do the male-female vocals.
Yeah, yes, which, there was lots of talk about should the male and the female switch off.
Everyone was like, oh my God, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw y'all, we're going to do this our way.
They said, we're going to do what we're going to do. So they did. But I remember wanting us going after them so bad. And of course, they ended up signing with Capitol. So I actually never did work with him, thank God. We've tried that one time and it was like,
you did?
Yeah, we're not going to do that again.
When did y'all try that?
Well, there was a group that I helped put together called Post Monroe.
Oh, yes.
And
I love them.
He did their EP, which they're no longer together. But he did their EP and it was interesting.
How has y'all's work dynamic together?
Well, I'm a 3 on the Enneagram and he's a 9.
So you're an achiever and he's a peacemaker.
He is. And so, but he also, the hard parts of being a 9 is you are somebody who takes all the information, and even if you want to say something, sometimes you just stuff it and stuff it and stuff it, and then there's a moment where it goes blah, and it turns into this huge tornado. And I just say what I need, and I'm like, this is what we need to do, and this is and this is the budget, and we can't afford that. And he's a creative, he wants to be able to do what he wants to do. And so it got to a point where we got into the process. We did finish it, and it was a really great EP, but there was a point in the process where we both looked at each other and said, we probably just need to be separate.
So were you managing and he was producing?
Correct.
Okay.
I was managing the band.
So then in essence, you're kind of managing him.
Exactly. It was, and he did not like that.
Yeah. Because it's one thing to be like the wife and the kind of the home manager of the kids and all that, but I guess when you're actually... having to tell him what to do.
Right. And in
a career.
It's such an interesting dynamic because I've always been on the business side of music, and he's always been on the creative side. So we've learned a lot about each other and the roles, and we have a lot of empathy he has a lot of empathy for music executives where maybe some artists don't.
Because he sees it from your perspective.
Because he sees it from my perspective, where... I have some empathy for him in artists where sometimes I'm just like...
Where music executives might not.
Correct. So it's provided good things for our careers separately. We just shouldn't work together again.
Okay.
So
hey, good to know, good to try.
yeah, exactly. We tried it. The music was great. At the end of the day, it was just the process of getting.
When y'all were finished, how did y'all know that was a one and done kind of thing?
Well, I mean, just the process was so difficult for us. I mean, we don't fight a lot. Obviously, we have regular marriage disagreements like everyone, but that really brought a lot of stuff up for each of us. So it just we agreed that, and we agreed on that part of it, that we shouldn't do anything else together like that.
You know, so. I actually feel like Michael and I would be very similar in that way. Yeah, because he's very creative and has like a very clear picture of what he wants to do, and like same with me. And I feel like if I was trying to tell him what to do creatively, he would not like that at all. Like he's a 7 and I'm a 4.
Okay.
Which is so he's like the enthusiast with life.
Yeah.
But then he also like when he's a Taurus too, so when he gets his mindset on something, he's a bull.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but both of y'all are the creatives though, right? I mean, I guess now you.
But you're creative. You're a business creative.
Yeah.
I was sitting here. I walked into you on a conference call, and like I'm hearing you like talk to your team, and you're coming up with ideas, and you're actually navigating a podcast world, and like figuring out how to do this world and how to take it from beyond a podcast and make it into a business and a touring business. And I mean, that's creative.
Yeah, it is. I guess it's a different, I've never looked at it like that, because I look at people who are talented and creative, like you and Dave, your husband. And I'm like, that is so amazing to me. Cause I have a singing background, but I'm not like
Yes, you do.
Oh yeah. And don't we all? Everyone who's moved to Nashville.
Did you move to be a singer?
I did. It's crazy.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about all that.
But I'm just, so I have a hard time like saying that is what I am as creative. But I think there are definitely parts of everyone's job and life where you find that, dig deep and find that creative. I mean, Dave even used to be in finance. I mean, he used to be just numbers. It's
probably super helpful for him in a creative career.
It is. I mean, everything you learn once you start having kids and you start figuring out like who they are, and math and music go hand in hand. So if you think that your husband or your child is like, oh gosh, he's going to just love math and numbers. Actually, he might be really good at music. You should put a guitar in his hand.
Truly.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I think you should claim creativity in your job though, because I was talking to, I never know who I'm talking to and what I've talked about, somebody who was a creative, and they were looking for a manager, and they were like, I want a manager who's creative.
Right.
Because if you don't have someone on the business side working for you as an artist per se,
right,
who thinks outside the box, who has creative ideas, who puts together interesting concepts that are different ways to showcase this talent. Like if you don't have someone who's able to think that way, then you kind of stay stuck in a rut, you know? So it's really important to have a creative executive on your team. So I think you are nailing that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
So what brought you to Nashville? How'd you get here singing? Tell me a little bit about like the beginning story of Kelli.
Well, I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
I grew up in Waco.
Okay. Texas girl, I got it. And then I went to school at the University of Oklahoma.
Okay. What brought you there?
I got a scholarship.
For?
Academics.
So you're very smart.
It was an academic leadership scholarship. I mean,
you're one of those people that just seem smart. Like being around you, I'm like, you know things.
It's all a veil. Yes, my plan is working. No, but I did. I went to the place where I could get college paid for.
Yeah, smart.
So I went to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is only 3 hours north of Dallas. Yeah. So it was easy, it wasn't too far away from home, but I felt far away enough to feel like I could spread my wings. And when I was there, I have a musical theater and a singing background as far as like growing up. And so when I was there, I got a band together, and there was this local guy in Norman, Oklahoma, who kind of took me under his wing, Charlie Rail, and we played a bunch of gigs all through college and wrote songs, and it was country. Yeah. So I did that in addition to like living my college life. And then
were you kind of the cool person who had the band?
I don't know if it was cool. I mean, at Oklahoma, I was in a sorority, so everybody is just so obsessed and I had amazing friends in my sorority. We're still very close. We try to get together once a year. It's hard. I mean, I think I did the math, and between all of my closest friends from school at Oklahoma, I think we have like 18 kids between us. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's hard to plan and get together, but
it is.
So anyways, everybody's just it's just such a social situation, and they loved coming to hear me sing, but it wasn't like a thing. I kind of had it on the side for me, and for what I wanted to do. But so I had always planned on moving to Nashville to be a singer. Yeah.
Were you gonna move with this dude?
No. He was always gonna stay in Oklahoma. He's a much older guy and very, very great. Was great for me during those years, but we sometimes played just he and I, and then we had a band for the bigger gigs. Okay. So, but yeah, so I moved to Nashville. I literally graduated in May, and I moved to Nashville in July.
Did you know anyone?
I did not know anyone. I met my roommate through a mutual friend from college. So we literally met each other when we moved into our apartment together.
And what was life like for you when you got to Nashville, showed up, knew no one, and you're diving into this big, wild music world?
Well, did I mention I'm a 3 on the Enneagram? I was very, very sure that I needed to get a job and take care of myself while I was, quote unquote, following my dream.
Okay.
And so immediately, I had my resume, I was shopping. I mean, I did not sit still. I did not waste a minute. I was I had contacts through radio because I had interned in radio whenever I was growing up. And I just did everything I could to get a job. And there was a guy at Warner who was a big, huge Oklahoma Sooners fan. And so I think he saw that on my resume. Okay. He was like, I'll interview her. So it's just a little lesson. Just put everything you think of on your resume. You have no idea why they might interview.
True that.
Yeah. And so anyways, he hired me as his assistant.
At Warner Brothers?
At Warner.
So what was his area?
He was the head of radio promotion.
Okay.
Yeah, head of national promotion at the time.
That's a big assistant.
Yeah, he's still in the music industry. And he totally helped me, navigate all of that. But yeah, I was his assistant. And then throughout those first few years working at Warner, I mean, no joke, one of my very first day on the job, the air conditioning went out at Warner, and it was CRS week.
Country radio sonar. So every radio station in the country is in Nashville.
You're correct. And so it was a huge day, and it was everybody was hot. I was wearing, I dressed up because I was like, it's my first job. I want to look nice. And I'm wearing these it was hilarious. But the elevator was not working. So we were going up and down steps, and it was Blake Shelton was there signing guitars. And so we were handing him the guitar and then walking them all down the stairs to go give them to all these country radio guys. It was hilarious.
It's kind of nice to have things go a little bit wrong, because then it just kind of gets everyone on equal playing field.
Absolutely.
Kind of gets you all bonded.
Yeah, and we did bond. We did bond. But after I had kind of gotten into it after that, I was pretty sure that I wanted to stay in the business side of things. Once my personality type, once I taste a little bit of success and know that I'm good at something, I want to pursue it.
So you thought maybe it was singing, but then you got into this other area that you hadn't even known about, and you're like, okay, I'm actually really good at this.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this. I'm going to kind of pivot.
Yeah, and I can sing, I can carry a tune, but I'm not special. And once I knew that I wasn't going to be special, again, my achiever in me was like, I don't want to do something that I know I'm not going to be good at. And that's not a good thing. That's a character flaw that I try to work through and try to do things that I know that I'm not good at now, because it stretches me. Okay. It makes me go, you know what, this may not be easy, but you need to try this. This is good for you. And I also want to instill that in my kids. You're not going to be great at this the first time. My son has such a hard time with this. If he can't do something on the first try, he wants to give up and cry. And I'm like, we are going, keep going, so I have to model that. So,
and that's hard work.
It is. It's so hard, especially for me. I'm one of those that literally doesn't want to try anything that I might not be good at. So,
wow. God, isn't it so funny how people really are just like, you're just wired a certain way? Because I am just opposite. Like, I do not have the achiever thing at all. Like, I go into things nervous and sort of feeling like, oh my God, I'm not going to be good enough already. And so then I just sort of, I have sort of like been shy of trying everything. I'll put myself in there, but deathly afraid the whole time that I'm not good enough to be doing it. And then, but so I won't necessarily try to like hustle it out and stand out in a way.
Right.
And I've always seeked groups. Like I've always like, because I moved here to be a singer too.
Yeah.
And I got involved with trios because you can kind of like blend in and like lean on others for support.
I get that. Totally.
And this podcast is the first time in my life where I stepped out and I was like, okay, I'm just going to expose it all.
Yeah.
And it could totally fail and people can think I'm the biggest loser in the world, but here we go.
And you're not.
But like you said, it's nice to push yourself.
It is.
And put yourself out there.
Even as adults, we have to do that. I mean, again, I feel like I expect so much of my kids, my son in particular, because he's can't expect much from a 2-year-old, my daughter, but
she's a great ballerina already, though.
Yes,
so cute in her outfit.
Cute, yeah, she may be a 3. But I expect so much of him, and then I have to step back and go, okay, maybe he's a little bit like you. You know, let's figure out how we model this for him so that he feels empowered to do so and know that he's going to be loved no matter what happens, even if he isn't successful at whatever he tries. So
how do you navigate that parenting when you see the potential of your kids and you're already like a full grown adult, so you know how to like get things done, but he's obviously what, like 5?
He's 5.
5. So how do you navigate that when you like want to push him, want to keep him trying, but yet you got to give him room to fall and grow and be.
Yeah, I think that the thing that Dave and I have agreed on and really feel that we are going to do together in parenting is that we're going to offer opportunities for our kids to try all different things and encourage them to try their best. And of course, there are going to be times they're going to want to give up and we're going to want to push them to not. But at the end of the day, the only thing that I can control is how my kids feel when they walk in our house. You know, there's going to be a lot of stuff out there. There are going to be kids who don't think they're good at sports and bully them. There's going to be, you know, people that say, don't sing ever again, or, you know, whatever it ends up being. There's not going to, life is not easy. But at the end of the day, if my son walks into this house and he knows how loved and,
big dog.
Hello, Bear.
Hi, Bear. Hi.
My dog just walked in. If he knows that he's loved and that no matter what happens, that everything that he should feel in here is security, safety and security, to try new things, to fail, to, you know that it's okay. Like that is the number one thing that we can do as parents, me and Dave, for our kids.
Are you guys, do y'all like to talk things out, or how do you express that to your children? Like, are you guys big talkers, or are y'all big just like...
Yeah, I mean, we're still learning, I would say. We don't have anything figured out, I'll tell you that. But we're really big on letting our kids have their feelings. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So nothing's a bad feeling to feel.
Right. And, you know, there's so much as parents, like, I mean, picture yourself in the grocery store and your child having a meltdown. It can be really embarrassing.
Yeah.
But they don't have those boundaries. They don't know boundaries. They don't know that it's inappropriate to be losing their mind in a grocery store. So we always give credence to their feelings. Like, it is okay for you to be upset right now, but it is not okay for you to be losing your mind right now. So we can talk about this when you get home or whatever, but it's always allowing them, tell me how you feel about that. How does that make you feel? So that they can articulate their feelings. Because I feel like that our generation, and of course our parents' generation, we're told not to have feelings. And I feel like it's so good for you to be able to identify that so that you can understand how to move forward out of it.
I've been in a season lately of accepting the fact, because I'm always someone who's like, let's get to the blessing, let's find the meaning, let's get to like the there's a purpose in the pain. And all that.
Yeah.
I've been in a season right now, and I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's just 2020 and like seeing things clearly. So much happening in the world. The freaking frenzy with the coronavirus. The tornado just hit. Like, you know, just having kids, career stress, all of it.
Right.
Where I've been overwhelmed lately, and I've been letting myself just be there.
Right.
Because normally I'm
instead of moving through it, you're letting yourself sit in that.
Yes.
I feel sad about this, or I feel really mad. I feel angry that this is happening.
Yes.
Like, why is the coronavirus happening? Or your neighborhood? Why did my neighborhood get decimated by a tornado?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be angry about it.
And then, like, even just talking to you a little bit about, like, my podcast before we got into this podcast, I don't know what I'm doing with this podcast. Like, I have no freaking idea what I'm doing with this podcast. I have been making it up as I go. And now that Sunny's here, it's like, you know, like when you have a kid, you want your time to matter more.
Yeah.
You want your intentions to be, like, good. You want to have, like, your day. You don't want to waste your time.
Right.
Because you want to be with your kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now I'm like, okay, this is not just a hobby. Like, it's a passion, and it's been a passion of mine forever. But I'm like, I got to make this actually... I gotta get structure with it and like create like a plan and like know where I'm going, and that's stressful.
If you want to. Do you want to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
You can do that.
But
you have people around you that can help you do that, and you're going to be awesome at it.
I think it's just like identifying the fact that it's like, okay, I'm a little bit overwhelmed right now. I'm going to let myself spin, and then once it settles down, then I'm going to sort it.
Right.
But I don't have to get out of the stress of it immediately. I'm always trying to get out of stress, like, because I feel like that's like bad to feel.
Right.
But it's not. And we want to teach, like you're saying, you want to teach your kids to feel. Yeah. We as adults should feel also.
Right. Absolutely. 100%. And there's something probably that's making you feel that stress too. Like there's some underlying something that's making you feel that stress. And you can eventually get out of that stress, but allowing yourself to go, what can I do? Why do I feel this way? And what are the steps that I can do from here? I feel like identifying your feelings just gives you so much clarity for how you move forward and how you move to the next, like you say, finding the joy. Like that's a feeling too. Like how do you then move out of it into that? So
have you done a lot of therapy?
Yeah. Does it sound like it?
Like it sounds like you've got some tools.
Oh gosh, tools are so important. And I am like, Dave and I both have done a lot of therapy
together and separate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, we literally just got back from a 2-day marriage intensive a couple of weeks ago. That is just so. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so thankful that we stop amidst all the craziness of having 2 kids, 2 young children. He has a crazy career. You know, I'm glad that we take time to sit and learn more about each other and understand each other better. I mean, it makes your marriage strong. It makes your confidence in who you are and what your purpose on this earth is, and your purpose to your partner. I mean, we really make it a priority in our marriage, which I'm really proud of us for doing, because it can be hard to do that. It can be really hard. And
a lot of times when things are going well and fine, you're like, things are well and fine.
Exactly.
Like there's no huge red flag that I need to address.
100%.
Everything's sort of, yes, there's stress of life, but everything's rolling.
And that's the stigma of therapy. That people's stigma of therapy is that you go when you're having problems, and
right when shit's hitting the fan.
Exactly, and sometimes it is, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But also, it's okay for you to just do a tune-up. I mean, you know, it's so important for us to not always be like, okay, let's wait till this is in crisis mode and then we'll fix it. It's like,
then the damage cleanup is so much worse.
Totally, absolutely.
So I know therapy is very personal and stuff, but what are some takeaways that you could share with us that you have gathered that maybe you wouldn't have gathered without therapy?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I think the thing that therapy has done for me really, and I'll speak specifically for me, not like marriage counseling, is understanding why you are the way you are and not shaming yourself, but accepting it.
And that has to do with like childhood.
It does.
Has to do with, what does it have to do with?
I mean, all different things. I mean, obviously trauma, if you've had trauma, that affects you. But yeah, just growing up, the role that you took in your family, you know, who you were within your family, you know, makeup. That is so it's such a part of who you are and the personality you have. And I think just accepting it, and then also as you go in through life is just kind of referencing back, like, and having like this tent pole that you can go back and look at, like, oh, the reason why I did that, or the reason why I feel this way when, you know, Dave said that to me is because of this. And it just brings awareness and recognition, which has helped me in business. Yeah. It's helped me in my marriage. It's helped me with my kids. I mean, it helps you in every part of life. I just feel like...
Probably to respond instead of react.
Yeah, and for me, so one specific thing for me, so Dave wants to sit and talk about everything immediately. Like, he wants to talk about it that minute. He wants to resolve it very much. Like,
peacemaker.
He's a peacemaker. And I sometimes need a minute to absorb and process everything that has happened so that I can come back and go, you know, this is how I felt during this. I didn't realize I felt this way, but after the fact, I realized I felt this way. I can be more articulate and less, huge response that is kind of, explosive.
Right. Not your best self response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now that he knows that about me, I can say to him, listen, this is an important conversation to me, and I do want to talk about this, but I need an hour, or I need until tomorrow. I need to think through this. Yeah. And so him knowing me better, and me, comes from me knowing me better,
truly
allows him to give me that space and not think that he's getting abandoned by me.
Right.
He just knows that
he'll get the conversation.
Exactly. It's just that I need...
But he would rather have the conversation with you when you're processed.
Of course. So I think that's
probably the biggest thing. It's taking time to gain awareness.
Yeah.
I feel like that is so easy to just not do, especially in this fast-paced world. Yeah. Like, we're saying everything's fine, so it's like, it's almost like, I don't want to take the time to get to know myself and to figure this out because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
When really, if you take the time to get to know yourself and figure it out, it saves you exhaustion in the long run.
100%. And I think, this is not to be preachy because everybody has their things, and there are some things that people can't make time for, and I get that. You don't have the resources or whatever, but, we make time for working out. We make time for... going out to dinner with friends. You can make time for yourself.
Yeah.
And trying to discover more about yourself so that you're better for yourself moving forward and better for the people around you and your family and all those things. So
I love that. So how did you and Dave know it was love? How did y'all reconnect after you met and then didn't end up working together at the label?
Right. So Dave and I were introduced through a mutual friend. This was before they had their deal. So when they came through, we knew each other, but it was just, we met after church one day. And so our story is that we were friends for a very long time.
That's awesome.
We actually have this group of friends that we would go skiing with every December or January, because he was always off around that time, and so was I, because music industry shuts down in December and January. So,
were there ever sparks?
Yeah, we have what I call a false start. If his mom listens to this, we definitely, we made out a couple of times, and we definitely felt something for each other. I started to feel more, but around that same time, Lady A was blowing up. It was just right as their first single, I Run to You, it was their second or third single that went number one. And then they were getting ready to put out their second record. And I could tell I was starting to have real feelings for him. And so at the time it was so difficult for me to do. But I decided to tell him, listen, my feelings for you are no longer just casual friendship. And I don't want us to continue to do what we're doing. So if you want to see if there's something else here, I want to do that, but I also understand that your life is crazy. And he, at the time, he was just I just don't think I have it. I can't commit to anybody right now. And I was like, that is totally fine. You need to stop calling me.
Okay, good. So you just put the end to it.
Yeah, we had a bunch of mutual friends at that point. We had been on 2 or 3 skiing trips together, and yeah, I just said, I need to set some boundaries because my feelings for you are not just friendship anymore. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm at the time, I think I was 25 or 26. And I was starting to want to date somebody for potential marriage. Yeah. So we set our boundaries, and he respected them for the most part. Every once in a while he would like text me and be like, I'm home, like, what are you up to? And I'd be like, I'm busy.
You stayed strong.
I did. I actually ended up dating somebody in between, and he at the time, I guess I didn't know this, but he supposedly was like, oh crap,
like she's really moving on. She's not joking,
right? And he and my friends who usually go skiing together, they went without me that year.
Because you were dating someone else.
I was dating somebody else. So I went skiing with him, and...
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my boyfriend and I broke up in January. And I'm not kidding. I had texted my girlfriends who were in that group of people that ski together, and I just said, I just want to let you know that we broke up. And they were like, I'm so sorry. And all of a sudden I got a text from Dave. It was like,
stop.
Hey... when we get back, you want to have lunch?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it was like
kind of made the breakup a little sweeter.
Yeah, and I was like, well, and I said to him, I need a minute. Yeah. So we were friends. I let him back in friendship wise, but I was so busy too. Like I was really, really working hard on my career.
At this point, you moved with the ladder. Now you're like,
yeah, I was a vice president of marketing at that point.
So you went from assistant to vice president?
Yes. By the time I was 25, I was vice president at Warner. I know. I was
Kelli,
working very hard. I did not have much of a life.
At 25, you were a vice president at Warner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was busy. I didn't have time for him. No.
I'd say so.
I was also like training for a marathon at the time.
God, you are one of those people that just does everything to the fullest. Yeah. Are you exhausted?
I'm not anymore, but I was.
Because like when you're starting something, like you said, you're going all the way. So here you are starting as assistant. Now you are vice president. Oh, I'm going to start running. Oh, now I'm going to do a marathon.
Yeah. I was exhausted. And the way that my therapist said it to me, the way my therapist said it to me though is you keep climbing the ladder. When you get to the top, there is no more ladder to go. So you add more rungs. He's like, aren't you exhausted? I mean, that's a lot of work. And I was like, yes, I'm so exhausted. He's like, then you got to get off the ladder.
How did you get off the ladder?
That helped me like transition.
How do you get off the ladder?
Therapy.
Did you say, okay, I'm going to go to therapy?
I did.
That's when you went?
That's whenever we're kind of jumping all over, but whenever I was pregnant with our second child, I said to him, I was like, if we're gonna consider me not working, I need to go get some help because I don't know who I am without all of this.
Wow.
Which is
and also tough. Okay, I do want to talk about that because I want to talk about leaving a vice president career to not work. Obviously, you're working again now.
Yeah.
So we'll transition to that. Okay. But okay, so
anyways, he as far as our relationship goes, he just started to pursue me in a way that I needed him to pursue me to know if it was going to be real. And it wasn't like full on like crazy at that moment, but a lot of things were happening at that point in my life. Again, I ran the Nashville Marathon in April, and he came over after the marathon, and we had a very real talk about. So I literally had ran 26.3 miles, and then he came over after.
It's quite a day to have a big conversation.
And then I had the most emotional conversation of my life. So,
I mean, is that symbolic or something?
It's got to be something, right?
Dang.
It was physically and emotionally exhausting.
You just purged it all.
Yeah. And so then from there, like, he was pursuing me pretty consistently in a very, like, purposeful way where I knew he was falling in love with me. And so once that happened, we had that foundation of friendship.
That's so awesome.
Once that happened, we've been friends, I guess, at that point for 6 or 7 years. Once that happened, we dated from like May to December. And in December, he proposed. And then we got married in April.
Long.
It was very quick.
Wow.
But I think that lends itself to the fact that we were friends for so long. We had such a foundation that once you just start dating, there wasn't like we were having to learn so much about each other. Yeah, we already knew a lot. So
wasn't there like an epic proposal involved?
He did. I mean, he's a very like romantic guy. He's very, very good at that stuff. But I had a house over in the Sylvan Park area, and I was at work, which I always was. I was at work, and he had hired someone to completely transform my house into a winter wonderland. And so I'm talking like when you walked in the front door, there were real flocked Christmas trees so that you had to walk like it was a maze to get into my house. And then he had pipe and draped the living room, and there was like, a table and lights, like Christmas lights everywhere. It was, extravagant would be an understatement.
Do you have pictures of this?
I do, yeah.
Oh my
I'll share it with you. And then we went in the house, and I was just like, what is going on? And he like played a video that he had made of like compilation of us growing up videos that he had gotten from my parents. What? And then obviously like pictures of us and all of our relationship. And then he took me outside, and my favorite movie in the whole world is White Christmas. Oh. So the wreath on the front door said, "Welcome to Pine Tree, Vermont." If you love White Christmas, that's where most of it is set. And so he told me to close my eyes, and then we went outside. And
did you know it was coming at this point?
At this point, I knew.
I mean, what else could this be?
I was like, this is either an amazing Christmas gift or we're getting engaged. And he was down on one knee, and he had like a little clicker, I guess.
Stop
and
it.
In Christmas lights, in this huge yard sign in letters, it said, "Will you marry me?" In Christmas lights.
Are you kidding me?
No. It was epic.
So you really got the pursuit that you were hoping for.
100%. I think, I needed that, knowing where we had come from and how I had felt those feelings for him before he was ready. Mm-hmm. I think I needed that from him. Not that that's the reason he did it, but I think that it was an important part of our story that once he was in. He was all in, like crazy in. I'll share the photos. It's pretty amazing.
So what is y'all's dynamic? Like, how does y'all's personalities work together?
Dave is such a sweet, and he's good, vulnerable with people, which I think is also he's done a lot of work to be that way. But he's so welcoming and authentic. He's the guy in the room that, probably you end up talking to because he's so he looks like someone you want to have a conversation with. He's very like open and unassuming. Yes, yeah, and obviously out of the three, they have great big. Charles is a huge personality. Hillary is such a amazing emotional woman figure, and he's definitely obviously more in the background of things, but he that's where he thrives. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's so talented in that way, but also when you're in a room with him, you're drawn to him. Mm-hmm. But as far as our dynamic goes, I am definitely like kind of a boss lady.
You are a boss lady. It's not a bad thing.
Dynamically though in our relationship, it's not like that. But you're running stuff. I'm running stuff, and he is definitely great to kind of like let me be who I am. I think it would be really hard for someone like me to be in a relationship where the man needed all of the attention constantly, which I know that sounds ironic because of what he does, but it's important for our dynamic. I think for him, he uplifts me so much. He doesn't make me try to be somebody I'm not. He doesn't want me to sulk and be different. Like he is so like, be who you are. Yeah. I love who you are. I want you to be all of those things and not try to tame or trim any of that because of, my job and what I do. So, that's amazing. It is. What do y'all like to do together? Like if you had just like time to hang out with no worries. We really are adventurous. Okay. We can't travel as much now that we have two young ones. Totally. But we love to try new things together. We've gone to a lot of new places that we've never been together. But also at this season of life, I would say just making time to be just together, him and I, which we are both so obsessed with our kids and we love spending time with them. So it is an effort to go, this is what we need. We need to go spend 3 days, in the mountains together.
Yeah. So we're just doing it and making that time and just committing to it.
Absolutely. Which is easier said than done. I'm not saying that's like something that is super easy, but that's something that we love to do. But adventure is big for us, for sure.
So how did you get to the place where you are climbing the corporate ladder, you're a total boss, vice president, literally like doing it? How do you get to the point where you're like, okay, it's time to walk away for a minute? Ooh. That's a big job to walk away from.
Yeah. And like I said, I think my foray into therapy at that point in my life was so important because so much of who I am, was my job and what I did, and people knowing me for that as opposed to maybe knowing me truly inside and who I am.
But sometimes we don't even know who we are without these jobs. Well, I've been doing them for so long.
And I didn't, and that's the truth. That's not.
I get that.
That's not placing anything on society. That's totally on me. And
I
liked it
that way. Yeah.
Because it gave me worth.
Yes.
My worth was, how much higher can I climb? How much money can I make? So I really had to stop and take a moment and go, what is all this for? I am in a really fortunate situation where I don't support our family. So it's not because I'm, keeping food on the table. So I just had to be really introspective. And I did spend 3 or 4 months toiling over it is this the right decision?
You probably loved what you were doing, at least adrenaline of it.
Well, I love working. Yeah. I do love to work. And I think that God gives us gifts that he gives us that he wants us to use.
I agree.
And
totally.
I just knew that for this season, I needed to try to use those gifts in different ways.
How did you know that? I always like to know how people know when God's speaking to them.
I was spending a lot of time by myself, and
do you get like feelings? Do you feel like resistance? Do you feel like sick about stuff?
No, I don't. I think at the time, Dave was busy. He was gone a lot. And I was feeling such a pull towards wanting to having our kids have stability. And I started to really, there's so much mom shaming out there. Like if whether you are a mom who works, there's shaming of that. And then if you're a mom that doesn't work, there's shaming of that. And so I really did dive into that too, of like, what is this perception that I have of moms? Why am I having such a resistance to step back? And I think
Were you more on the shaming of you if you're a mom and don't work, then there's shame in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking like, don't you want to do something with your life? And I will tell you that for the 2 years that I stayed home, that was harder than any job I've ever had in my entire life.
What was the hardest part of that?
You have to die to yourself every single day.
That's a great way of putting it.
You do not win at being a mom. You cannot succeed at being a mom. It is, you can succeed at being, a loving mother, but there was no trophy at the end of the day. There's not like somebody.
You're 3.
Your 5-year-old doesn't, look over at you and go, "Mom, you did such a good job being a mom today." Like that doesn't happen. Whereas like in a job, you get the, that was a bad decision. You did not do a good job at that. But you also get the, wow, but Blake Shelton just won Male Vocalist of the Year.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes.
You
can
get
see your
that.
hard work.
You can see it. Whereas mothering is blind. You just pray that you're doing the right thing, and you still don't know if you're doing the right thing.
Yes.
So I think that was, I had to do a lot of that, diving into what I thought and really kind of changing those perspectives.
What did you learn in that season of dying every day to yourself? What did you learn about yourself?
Oh gosh, I'm better when I'm working. That's what I learned, really. No, I think I learned that success is sometimes not measured. I think that and this is my own personal story and my own personal journey, so I think it will be different for everybody, but there was so much that was built up for me in what I could accomplish. And I feel like I learned to just truly do my very best. I do my best, and then at the end of the day, just go, you did everything you could do today. You did the best you could do. And it wasn't pretty when you yelled at Cash in the tub, but give yourself some grace, and you've got a new day tomorrow. Your kids know that you love them, and go to the next thing. I mean, it wasn't an easy season for me, but I feel like I learned so much about what I'm capable of, which I'm thankful for.
What did you do with your ego? The ego that needed to work?
Ooh, that ego had to die too.
I know. Dying of the ego is really hard, especially when you're really good at stuff.
And I have other wives that have been very supportive of this, but I've had a really hard time. Since I had built my career, I had a really hard time being just Dave's wife.
Right.
That's a very hard thing for me. And
I get that.
I'm not. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be someone's wife. I'm proud that he is my husband.
And some women, that's all they want is to be a stay-at-home mom and someone's wife, and that's great. But when 100%. You are this working force, and that's a huge part of what makes you feel alive,
right?
Then that's not enough.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of that too, where you have to spend time with the Lord and go, I need you to tell me who I am. I need you to say who I am, because I think I am this, and these people think I am this, and my husband thinks I'm this, but I know that you tell me who I am. And so I think these last couple of years, I've really flown closer to my relationship with the Lord, which has been such a blessing. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that.
How do you? What does that look like for you when you're getting close to God? Like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm still learning, but something that I feel like has been really helpful to me is I feel as if God has always been someone who, he made this, he's in control, but what is he really in control? Because I'm the one who's making all these decisions. So learning to rest and have faith, and truly what that looks like for me is I have to picture myself sitting with God and putting my head on his shoulder and being vulnerable and saying, you know what, I don't know what to do with this situation. I need you to take it.
How does he answer you?
It's not like audible, but I think with the peace that I feel, I also feel as if he leads me towards an answer. And
by like opening doors or presenting opportunities?
Also, we just have gone through this decision-making process for our kindergarten for our son, which was hugely stressful for me, very, very difficult. And I probably obsessed over it more than I ever should have. At the end of the day, we had gotten it down to 2 schools that we were super excited about. Both were amazing. The pros and cons were very even. At the end of the day, I had to just go, God, you've given me the opportunity to make a decision. So I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to ask you to bless it. And if it's wrong, then I need you to lead us somewhere else.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And does it feel, so when you're in that position, do you go by what feels more peaceful?
I'm not really looking for that feeling. I'm really just, I'm trusting that God is just going to be who he says he is, which is always there with me and faithful and ever present. And so I'm just banking that the Holy Spirit is helping me make that decision.
But those schools are equal. Like, they both line up. They both check all the boxes that you need. What if you go with a feeling?
Yeah.
And
I had a feeling. I had been trying to push against that feeling. And once somebody said, like, God has given you the gift of discernment. You are a discerning, loving parent. You are doing nothing but the best for your son. You are equipped to make the decision. I was like, well, then I know this decision.
Then you knew exactly which one?
Yeah.
So you already knew it?
I did, but I was questioning myself. And that goes back to when you put it back in your hands. And I'm in control of, well, if we make the wrong choice, his life will be horrible and he'll never have friends and you just play through that all in your mind. And when you
it's
really
all
just
make-believe.
It's all fake. I mean,
it's all fake.
Because it hasn't happened.
And what you're thinking won't happen. Like, I literally am like having a big dose of that right now. Like, since having Sunny, like, I've had more anxiety in my life than I've ever had, just going through everything that could happen that's wrong. And me preventing her, like, barely taking her in public, like, the first 4 months of her life, because I was so afraid of people sneezing on her, you know?
Totally.
And then it's
gosh, now with coronavirus.
The coronavirus hits. Like, what are you going to do? Our husbands travel. Like, am I going to send Michael to a hotel when he comes back? Like, you could get it anywhere. Maybe it's not even a real thing. Who knows what's happening?
Right.
But then you're sitting in all your safety that you built for yourself, and a tornado sweeps through your neighborhood.
That's right.
And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And, like, I think the Kobe Bryant thing has shaken the world up, because you can't be more at the top of your game. Right. You can't have better opportunities. You can't have
more safety built in. Yeah.
He was in the best of the best of the best.
Yeah.
And look what can happen there. So it's like, what are we even stressing about, you know? Because
there is got to be some comfort. It's just, how do you access that comfort of knowing that you have no control over the future, and that it's going to be okay. Like, that anxiety that you are perpetuating is not going to change the outcome of what's happening. Like, if you're going to die tomorrow, you're going to die tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you're not, then you're just continually putting that anxiety into a cycle, and
it's make-believe.
Yeah.
It truly is make-believe. And I'm finally, I think with me, like, I'm having a breaking point with, like, Sunny and life and everything. And I'm just like, my prayer to God every single day is like, God, just guide me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I literally can't even see the road. Like, I don't know where this is supposed to go in any area of my life, like, at all, which is crazy, because I like to have things all planned and safe. And I mean, like, Michael and I are moving right now, and then, like, it's just all these things, and, like, his career, they just signed a new record deal, and, like, a new single, and, like, I'm trying to do my podcast, and Sunny, like, what is the best for her? And I'm like, I don't even know how to control any of this, so I'm focusing on blessings, and then just saying, God, guide me, kind of what you're saying. Give me the peace.
Right.
Shut the doors that are supposed to be shut, open if they're not. If they're not shutting, I'm going to keep walking.
Right.
The best of my intuition.
Yeah. And, I mean, hear me say, too, there are people who have clinical anxiety that do need to get help for this.
Yes.
So it's not always like, just give it to God. Like, that, I don't want to sound...
No, I agree.
There are people who have real problems with that, so don't hear me say that. But I do think that there's something that we do to ourselves on a regular basis that... And I think that before I left work, I just didn't realize how much anxiety I carried with me every single day. And there was such freedom in going, I don't have anything to care about except for what's right in front of me right now. So I think I needed that stop.
That reset.
Moment, that reset button for me.
Because it probably felt like you had to care about all that stuff. And that's just a part of your life. Mm-hmm. And then you actually realized that was the job.
Right.
That actually isn't
so
me.
True. That is 100% true.
Because you get so wrapped up in it. And your job is people.
Right.
It's like actual human beings,
right.
artists, and like making... So it's very personal.
Yes. Yeah. I needed that reset button.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then you decided to creep back into it.
Yeah. I knew that I was always going to go back to work at some point. I kind of had anticipated it wouldn't be until Lily was in full-time school. Mm-hmm. But I also knew that I was going to listen if the Lord put something on my heart and open a door that I feel like I would have never thought to open. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I was going to have to be passionate about it. And probably it wouldn't be in music because I'm still in a little detox from the music business.
Yeah.
But I've had a friend for a very long time who asked me if I would manage her career. She's not in music, but she is in entertainment. She's a book author and a podcast host in the faith space. She's an amazing woman of faith that I have admired for a very long time. So her name is Annie Downs. Check out our podcast.
Total awesome.
That sounds fun.
That's what it's called. Annie Downs. That sounds fun.
That sounds fun, yeah. But she asked me, we were literally at dinner with another friend of ours, Allie, at a restaurant here in town, and she just brought it up again. Not again. I mean, I guess she had always said to me, I would love for you to manage me, but it had never been like a serious question. So she asked me if I would take on her career stuff, and I was like, you know what? That's something that I 100% believe in. I 100% believe in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And I said, let me talk to Dave and I'll get back to you. Because we do make those decisions together. I mean, even as I sit here today, like we're making a decision together, even though it obviously Lady A stuff is so much bigger than just two people, but they also allow themselves to make decisions as couples and as a group, as opposed to like...
You have a very healthy band family relationship.
We do.
Y'all worked for it.
We have.
All of y'all in there, I can
all
see individually have worked on themselves.
Yeah, all individually and then together too. So
that's awesome.
But we made the decision that we feel like we can make it work, and I have a flexible schedule to where I can really work hard when my kids are not here, and then when they are, then I can pick them up from school. And Annie obviously is someone who believes in the family unit, and so
she knows you and what you're capable of. Yeah, she doesn't care.
She doesn't care if I'm picking my kids up at 2.
No, she just needs the job to get done, and she knows she'll do it.
Yeah, and that is such a freeing thing for me, because I feel like I came from a place that was like, the music industry itself, it's like if you don't look like you're working hard, then people don't think you are.
Right.
Which is such a joke.
Right.
I mean, that is complete
There's so much
joke.
wasted time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like
so many lunches.
Fake lunches, and then showing up to all these night showcases and shows, and you're just like, you know,
I'm seen.
Yeah, just be seen so that you look like you're working hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do work hard. I don't want you to hear that, but they do. A lot of them do work really hard, but I just got to a point where it wasn't worth it for me anymore.
So now you're just able to do your own schedule.
Yes. It's really nice, and do something I really, really love. I mean, I'm using all my skills for Annie. I'm using everything that I'm good at, but I'm doing it for something that I believe can change lives because of her platform and who she is and what she does.
That's awesome. Do you feel peace?
I do. I feel peace. I feel really joyful. I don't feel like even 3-4 years ago I could have said I feel joy, because I feel joy now.
Like when you wake up, do you feel joy?
Yeah, I mean, when I wake up, it's usually to a 5-year-old in my face, but that's not super joyful. But I do. I just feel there's not a weight there anymore, you know. And I there are some days that there is a weight there. I'm not saying it's like all happy, you know, kittens and puppies all day, every day, but I can at least see the joy and be thankful for how God has changed me over these last few years. I'm super, super thankful.
What's a moment when you think on it that brings you so much joy?
I mean, this may sound really simple, but I feel joyful that I have 2 beautiful kids that are healthy. I feel joyful that I have a husband who loves me and shows it, and that I love him, and that we can do life the way we want to do life and not have to fit it into what maybe other people think it looks like. I feel joyful that I can use my gifts. All those little things add up into the big joy box, I guess I should say. You know, but I love looking at the little things that make life maybe seem simple, but are really beautiful moments. So
I like to talk to people about their self-talk too.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even realize self-talk was a thing for a long time until I realized I had really negative self-talk. What does your self-talk look like? Do you have different versions of your self-talk?
Well, I'll be honest and say that I'm not good at it. And so I sometimes have to even make write notes to myself every once in a while to remind myself. But the number one thing that I say to myself that I feel like I have to repeat is, it is okay to be you, the way that God made you, and not the person you think everybody thinks you are. Just be who you are. People love you for you, and you know what's in your heart and soul, and how you share your life with them, not what you accomplished or who your husband is. That doesn't define you and your self-worth. Was that an answer to your question? I don't know if it was.
When you're in a project, how are you talking to yourself?
I usually, but well, I'll say right now, it's more like, you know how to do this. You're perfectly equipped to do this. Just do it. Don't think about it. Try not to overthink everything. I have to tell myself that I'm equipped.
Yeah.
There's so much of even, obviously I was a vice president at a very young age, and a lot of what I told myself was, people don't think you're worthy. People don't think that you're that good. People don't think you deserve your position. So
I was working a long time, and here you are 25.
Yeah. And so I think I felt I needed to like prove myself all the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel I have to prove myself anymore. I just know what I'm capable of, but I also know what my weaknesses are. And I know that I can identify what I'm not good at. And I either A, have somebody else doing it, or I have people speaking into my life that says, it's okay that you're not good at, like, that's not your thing. Don't worry about that. I don't have people, it's not like this, I have to take over the whole thing and,
Right, you're cool to outsource. I'm
cool to outsource, and I'm also cool to say, that's just not something I'm great at.
Yeah. And knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses.
Well, in my previous life, I wouldn't have done that, because that would look like weakness. And I only think that looks like strength now. It looks like strength to go, I am not sure I can do this. Will you help me?
Yeah. Confidence. That's really confidence.
100%. Yeah.
What would you tell your younger self? What would you tell your 25-year-old self?
I think I would say to slow down and look around you. Don't miss the people that you're getting to walk in life with. Don't miss them. Don't miss these moments. I was so focused on achieving and getting better, and that I feel like sometimes I missed moments with people that are really special to me.
I love that. Okay, we're going to wrap up.
Yeah.
Two more questions.
Okay.
This is a big one.
Okay.
But I think you can handle it.
Uh-oh.
What is the point of this life? With all the things that are happening, the chances to achieve, to climb a ladder, the chances to have love and children and adventurous life, tragedy, hardship, all the things that just are in this constant dance. Mm-hmm. It's all of it. Mm-hmm. Why are we experiencing this? And how do we navigate it? Like, what is the point of it?
Well, not to give the Bible study answer, because I truly believe this. I believe that we're all here put on this earth to glorify God, and all of the pain and suffering is not his plan, but he can be glorified through it. And I think that my whole goal in life, and I have to remind myself, it's not like I wake up every day and go, how can I glorify God today? I'm not that great of a person. But I do think that it helps me when I go, why is everything falling apart? Mm-hmm. What is going on? It helps me to go, where can I see God in this? Where will he get me through this? Because I know that the whole point of this situation is for us to bring glory to him.
Because it all ultimately is.
Yeah. And that's just my faith journey and what I truly believe. So.
And then I wrap every podcast up with leave your light. So, we sort of, your whole thing's inspiring, but What do you want people to know? Just anything.
Oh, man. I want people to know that it's okay not to have it all together. It's okay for you to want and desire things and not have it. And it's okay for you to want for those things. But it's also okay for you to be vulnerable and say, I don't have it all together. I need help. I want community. I want, you want more friends. You say, I want to be in community. Like, vulnerability, I think, is a word that gets thrown around. Thank you, Brene Brown, quite a bit. But I do think if you really think about what that does to people, if you both stand there, like you and I were both sitting here naked. Yeah. We would be. It would offer a lot of opportunities for us to really just be real with each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that I want people to it's okay for you to want and strive for things, but also just know who you are deep down and know that it's okay to be who you are and struggle. And I don't think that was very good.
That's great. It kind of leads me to one more question that I want to end with. What would you tell someone who feels just completely lost? They don't know what their dream is. They feel overwhelmed. They don't feel like they have any bright future in front of them. They want to be something great, but they don't even know where to start. Maybe don't even know their talent or what they're good at. Like, they feel just sort of like at a dead end, hopeless road. How would you tell someone to even start? What do you even do in that position?
Pray. I mean, so much of what these last 2 years once my daughter was born was me just saying, I was feeling that same thing. What is it? Why did God put me on this earth? I mean, obviously, nothing is happening for me. I'm not cool. Like, nobody,
Just totally not true, but that's how you felt.
But that's how I felt. And so I just remember praying that God would give me a sign, and that it didn't have to be like this big, flash in the sky, but it ended up being a door. He opened a door.
Oh, like a figurative door.
Yeah, he opened a figurative door, but I just felt like me being in constant conversation with God and working on my prayer life with him has helped me kind of decipher what it is that I am looking for. I think some people are like, I don't know what my passion is. Well, if you don't know it, no one else knows it. But I'm not saying you should know at this moment. I didn't know what my passion was either. I knew what I was good at, but I didn't know what I really wanted to do to make my mark.
But you just started. Like, you got to Nashville on singing. You took a job as an assistant, and you let it lead you.
Absolutely. So you just gave the answer. It's like you just keep going. You put one foot in front of the other. You show up. You show up for your friends. You show up for your people. You show up for your job.
Take notice of what you find interesting,
and just keep doing it. And I believe that if you are doing that and you put one foot in front of the other, and you're really showing up and looking for how, if there is a door that the Lord can open, that it'll be there for you.
It'll open.
And maybe you'll have a light bulb moment, or maybe you'll just make a decision that leads you down a path that you're like, wow, this is the path I was always meant to go down.
But just keep showing up. Wherever you get a chance to show up that feels like love, that feels good, just do it.
Yeah.
Kelli Haywood in the house. Thank you for this. She was like, before and I'm sure you're going to say something after this. She's like, this might not even be good. I'm like, Kelli, this is going to be so freaking
no one's gonna
good.
Download this.
No, this is great. Thank you so much for joining me. You're so inspiring.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
Bye.